Hey teachers, Brother Judd. Yeah, I'm out of uniform. I apologize for that. I was gone all week at trainings. I got in late last night and woke up to the snowstorm that is the Snowmageddon of January 12th, 2024. After clearing snow and helping my neighbors with theirs and then getting my kids going with e-learning and technology issues and whatnot, I just have not had time to shower and put on my white shirt and tie. I really want to get this training out to you because I know some of you will be using this day to plan lessons for next week. So apologies for being out of uniform, but I'm sure you can understand that sometimes circumstances dictate such. Regardless, we've got a great training for you this weekend. I'm excited about this one. It's not just a lesson, a training that will help you with these chapters, 1 Nephi 10 and 1 Nephi 11. But it should be something that will help you with all of your lessons. Now, this lesson is titled, That I Might See, Hear, and Know. And as you go through the lesson, it recalls that, it's the story about how Lehi has told his family the vision of the tree of life, and the brothers, they react differently to Lehi's inspired teachings. What the lesson does here is it models a really good teaching skill of asking different kinds of questions. Now, it invites the students to read these verses out of 1 Nephi, and I would suggest that before saying, hey students, I want you to read verses, chapters 10, these verses, and chapter 15, these verses, and they read them, and then you say, oh, by the way, what difference did you see between how Nephi and his brothers responded to the same message? And then they'll have to, I'll have to go look for it. And it gets a little clunky. Same thing with this second question. What did Nephi believe about God? What did Laman and Lemuel believe? And again, it tells you the things in those verses. Instead, when you come across look for types of questions, like these first two questions in the lesson manual, ask those questions before you send the kids into the text to read, okay? So you'd say something like this. All right, class, we're going to read 1 Nephi chapter 10, verses 17 through 19, and also chapter 15, verses 1 through 3, and verses 8 through 9, and always write references on the board, okay? If you're using a presentation, then make a slide out of it, but always have the references written out so that students know exactly what you're asking them to read. It'll reduce a lot of the clunkiness. It's like, wait, where are we? What are we supposed to read? What did you... Okay. Just always write the references up. Whenever you're having a group reading activity, always write the reference where it's very easy to see. I got away from myself, but okay, you gotta always do that. So ask the question like this. All right, students, I want you to read these verses, and as you're reading, I want you to look for what differences do you see between how Nephi and his brothers respond to the same message. Because this one is not a choose-your-own adventure type of question. This is there is a right answer, and I want you to go find it question, all right? Also, I want you to look for what did Nephi believe about God, and what did Laman and Lemuel believe about God. And if you need some help, you can look in these specific verses, okay? And then you send them. So they're looking for it the first time that they're reading it. That's going to expose our students to the concept of I can find answers to questions in the scriptures. Now, of course, these ones are very easy, but it's the third type of question that we really want to get to. And this is an open-ended question. How do you think their different beliefs and reactions will influence them? There's no right answer to this. This is asking your students, what do you think about the situation? At the beginning of the lesson, there's this really nice definition about asking questions that invite discovery. Asking relevant and open-ended questions, then allowing students to search the scriptures for answers, can provide meaningful and power opportunities for students to discover doctrine and principles for themselves. These types of questions show students that answers can be found in the scriptures and that they are capable of finding those answers. Now, sometimes you need to set the question up so students aren't, looking in the text for the answer to an open-ended question. So, like with these first two questions, you said, all right, as you read this, I want you to look for, and then you share those prompts there. A way to set up an open-ended question would be like, all right, now you're not going to find the answer to this in what you just read, but I want you to think for yourselves, how do you think their different beliefs and reactions will influence them? See the difference there? you set them up because some students, not wanting to be embarrassed or get the wrong answer, they might think you're asking for them to go repeat something out of the text again. And so to set up an open-ended question with, all right, you're not going to find the answer in the text there, or, okay guys, don't try to look for this one in the verses. The answer is not there. I want you to think about this and just tell me what you feel. But the way that you set up open-ended questions and look for questions is different, and it will prime your students for success. That they can feel like, you know what, yeah, I can go into the scriptures and I can find answers when my teacher asks me a question and the answer is just right there. But also I can think about the scriptures for myself and I can come up with things. Now here's the thing about open-ended questions. Oftentimes the way that students answer open-ended questions is much more autobiographical than they like to admit. They're telling something about themselves and how they see the situation when they answer an open-ended question honestly. And so we as teachers need to be ready to observe that and to assess, all right, you know, this student tends to always have a bit of an edge when he's answering open-ended questions. I can always count on a faithful but sometimes naive response from this student when he's answering open-ended questions. And that will allow you as a teacher to gauge the needs of your students. So again, difference between look for questions and open-ended questions. They're designed for different things, but they are all purposefully built to give our students a good experience in the scriptures. So God bless as you teach the Book of Mormon this week. Good luck with the weather, and I'll make sure to have a white shirt and tie on next week. Take care, and God bless.